Hello, we're going to video how to hem up, cut off and hem up yoga pants. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pair of yoga pants that I know are the right length for my granddaughter. And I'm going to take my tape measure. You could use a yardstick or a ruler. It'd be a little harder, but you could do that. And I'm going to measure the inseam. So the inseam is from the crotch to the hem of the leg. And so I'm going to measure that with my tape measure. And in this case, it's 23 inches on the tape measure. So I know that that's how long the new pants need to be. Now in reality, this is for a child, and so I'm going to leave a 1/2 inch of grow room in the new pants that I'm hemming. So I'm going to put the ones aside that we know the inseam is 23 inches. And then I'm going to look at the pants that I'm getting ready to hem. And when I look at them, there's about a 1/2 inch seam hem at the ankle. It's just a raw edge that's been put a hem stitch in so it stretches. So I know that I need a 1/2 inch of a hem left. So I have my 23 from my example pants, a 1/2 inch for the hem, and then a 1/2 inch for growth, and I know that I need to cut them off at 24. So take my new pants, lay them out so that I can measure the inseam. Take my measuring tape, measure from the crotch down to the hem. And you try to be as accurate as you can be. I mean, it's never going to be exact, but you have to be as close as you can. Okay, so these pants are 26. So I need to be at 23, a 1/2 inch for growth, a 1/2 inch for the hem. So I need to cut them off at 24. So in this case, I need to remove about 2 inches of the pant leg in order to make them the right length. Now these are actually the same pants, the same brand, the same model, just a different color than a pair that I just did. And on them, I only had to cut off 1 1/4 inches. So these pants are a little bit longer than the others, even though they're the same brand. So I'm going to reach and get them so I can show you. These are the ones that I've already cut off 1 1/4 inches on. And if I lay them down here, I should have, yep, about the same there. So it's very important that you measure correctly, because that's going to be very important, is your measurement. So you could, what I could do is use these black ones as an example. Or if you know that they're the right length, which in this case they're not exactly the same length, you could even use, if you're doing pants that are exactly the same length, you could even use what you cut off as a measurement to make them come out right. So put those aside. We're going to measure. A good place to keep your tape measure is around your neck. That way it keeps it from falling in the floor, which it always does. And so I'm just going to cut and measure as I'm going. Using my tape measure so that I get it as straight as possible. And there we go. So now I have one leg cut off to the right length, and I just do the same thing on the other leg. I like to use my ironing board for these kind of projects. A lot of times they have to be pressed so that you can get a correct measurement, but in this case it's knit, so it doesn't have to be pressed. But it also gives you a nice long place that's flat to cut. You need good light too, so that you can see your measurements, your tape measure, or your ruler. You could do this with a ruler. And so we're just going to cut this one off too. Okay, I know it's a little scary, but if the child won't wear them too long, this is the best thing to do, is just cut them off. And I'm always a little conservative about what I cut off, because you know what? You can always cut off more, but you can't add it back. And when you're working with only a 1/2 inch of a hem, it would be very difficult, if not impossible, to let them out. So now we have them ready to hem up and do a 1/2 inch hem. So I'm going to pause right there. We're going to set up the sewing machine, and I'll show you the rest in a minute. Okay, here we are at the sewing machine. I have a Husqvarna Viking Opal 690Q. You can do a hem stitch on even basic machines. It just makes it a little easier when you have a fancier machine. I have set my machine for stretch medium fabric, and I have selected the number 14 stitch, which is kind of an overcasting, which will stretch nicely for the fabric we're using on these yoga pants. And I have changed the presser foot to the B, and so we're now ready to hem these pants. Okay, now remember, we're doing a 1/2 inch hem. Now, I've been sewing for a long time, so I'm just going to eyeball a 1/2 inch. If you can't estimate a 1/2 inch, you can use the markings on your pressure plate here on your sewing machine, or you can measure it with a ruler and pin it up. But it's important, because of your measurements, that you make sure that it's as correct as possible. So we're going to lower the pressure foot, and we're going to get started here. Alright, and I'll come back and show you the finished product. Alright, so we've gone all the way around. Here's the cut feature. And there we go. We have a nice hemmed yoga pant. Now, a lot of the magic of this is, of course, that I have a really great sewing machine that will do a stretch stitch on knit like this. That's kind of key to it. But if you have a less expensive machine, you can still get a good hem. You'll just have to be a little more careful as you're sewing. you'll have to stretch out the material if you're using a non-stretch stitch, and you may get some pucking too. But you know, for a child's pants that they're just going to wear to school or for play, it would be fine. You know, if you're doing something that you're going to wear yourself, or it's not so much for every day, you would want as nice of a stitch as you could get. But there you go. That's a tutorial on how to hem yoga pants. I hope you find that helpful, and have a great day.